This is my mission, and I will complete it.
Vice President George Bush.
Thank you. It is customary to end an address with a pledge or a saying that holds a special meaning. And I've chosen one that we all know by heart, one that we all learned in school. And I ask everyone in this great hall to stand and join me in this. We all know it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and God bless you.
Dan Rather with Bruce Morton. CBS News live coverage of the 1988 Republican National Convention's climactic moment. Vice President George Bush adding on to his prepared remarks. A late add-on. When and how it was planned, who knows, for the audience to stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Earlier, the vice presidential nominee, Dan Quayle of Indiana, and others had made reference to what they say is Michael Dukakis' reluctance to have schoolchildren recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Bruce's solid speech, delivered in solid fashion. George Bush may never have delivered a speech this well. The question is, did it connect? Do people believe it? Will it establish his reputation for having the kind of leadership steel that even some in his own party have questioned he had?
Well, I thought it was a good speech, Dan, and I think it's a good first step towards doing all those things. It had some humorous lines in it, a few more one-liners than we're used to in George Bush speeches. It had a few Clint Eastwood lines for toughness, read my lips, make my day. And I thought it was a pretty good statement of the way the Republicans want to put their case this fall. No new taxes, heavy emphasis on all the social issues, school prayer, the death penalty, abortion. And I think this crowd liked it.
No question this crowd liked it. The question always is, how does it play at home? It'll be a while before we know that. You mentioned humor. There was some, and the sharp attacks on Michael Dukakis. For that matter, he called Michael Dukakis, Lloyd Benson, and Jesse Jackson, quote, the three blind mice. As Mrs. Bush comes to the podium and the demonstration for George Bush continues, we have upcoming still what the Republicans call, quote, the great balloon drop. Shirley Jones leading Singing American Beautiful, and others. So we hope you'll stick here with us. But as the demonstrations roar on, we'll pause for these messages.
You're on the road to the top, there's no time to stop. You're gonna make your dreams come true. Here's your address for success, Park Avenue. It's your room with the view, it's your run to command. Every street feels like Park Avenue. The great American road belongs to Buick.
Save up to $1,400 on Buick's Electra Limited Sedan.
What's in a name? The Kemper name means the security of solid insurance protection for your life, home, business, and auto, even reinsurance protection. But Kemper's more than insurance. It's Kemper financial products, like mutual funds, annuities, and money market funds, working to bring you better tomorrows, insurance and investments. Ask for them by name. Kemper.
Not since The Godfather has Francis Ford Coppola brought such excitement to the screen. People magazine calls Tucker a striking, stirring film achievement. Time magazine says Jeff Bridges gives the performance of his life. And Newhouse newspaper says it will make you come out of the theater cheering.
Oh, that tiger!
Tucker, the true story of the man and his dream. Rated PG. Now playing at a theater near you.
Every day, we face a simple truth. The world is getting more and more complex. Technology from a company called TRW helps find patterns in complexity and gives us perspective. So when we look at the world, it's a little simpler to understand. Tomorrow is taking shape at a company called TRW.
The flag-carrying Bush family has come onto the podium to join hands with the Vice President of the United States, who has delivered his acceptance speech here in the great hall that is the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. And the great balloon drop is underway. As we mentioned before this week, the Democrats had 20,000 balloons for the week in Atlanta. The Republicans have had 200,000 balloons this week. Footnote, bottom of the page, it is, after all, a much bigger hall. The balloon drop here as they go, perhaps all the more impressive for the fact that they come a long way down. Floor to ceiling in this hall is a long way. 150,000 balloons from the roof, we're told. 7,500 from the floor. Yes, it's an expensive proposition. And yes, it takes a lot of work. George Bush's address, primary writer for which was Peggy Noonan, former employee of CBS News, one of our good friends and former colleagues, so you may want to take that into account when I say a well-written speech and one well-delivered. George Bush had rehearsed a lot for this speech, and it showed. He has been known in the past to, for example, look down on the key lines in the speech. He didn't do it here. Yes, he had a teleprompter, but sometimes before when he's had the prompter, he's done that. Didn't do it tonight. He's been known before, and one of the things that Roger Ailes, his speech guru and main advertising man, been trying to get out of the habit of doing is stepping on his own lines, waiting too long for applause. He didn't do that. Those who've seen a lot of George Bush and heard a lot of George Bush speeches over the years, including your narrator, believe it to be the best delivery of a speech that he has done, and probably about as well as he can do it. Diane Sawyer is on the podium. Diane?
That's right, Dan. It's kind of a festival of balloons up here for the Bush family. Behind the podium, they're kicking them around. Even Mrs. Bush was doing a little drop kicking herself up there. She gave the vice president a thumbs-up sign and said it was a great speech. All of the aides up here are giving him thumbs up as well, saying things like 10 strike. They think for those of them who have said that this is a come-from-behind kind of candidate, they've been vindicated by this speech tonight. We should say that the vice president, after the speech, kept turning around and saying, "Where are my children? Where are my children?" All of a sudden, the youngest granddaughter came out with stark terror on her face until she saw her granddad, and then she burst into a smile and came to him. We, by the way, are being held back by some friendly Republican linebackers here, I think after a very polite, of course, little ambush on the president the other night. So I'm not sure we'll get questions in tonight or not, but there's pretty much jubilation up here.
Diane, we may want to talk some as we go along about each side wants to position itself as an underdog. Here's a party that has won 2 straight elections, the last one carrying 49 states. They say the economy's in good shape and we have peace. How is it that this would be an underdog ticket?
I beg your pardon, Dan. I got swept away for a moment in a deluge of cheers behind me.
Well, Walter Cronkite's joined us here in the booth. We'll try to talk about it with him a little later on. Ed Bradley is on the floor with New York Senator Al D'Amato, who said earlier he was a little concerned about the delivery. Well, Ed, I bet he says he likes it.
What'd you think of it?
Great momentum. He hit it. He hit it out of the park. He did it with compassion. He did it with feeling. And he talked about a gentler America. It wasn't just death penalty for drug dealers. It was about calling upon us to challenge the better instincts of America as well. I saw the gentle George Bush, and I saw the tough George Bush, and a compassionate middle course. Excellent. I think this puts him in the game.
For you, it was what he had to do.
Yes. For me, it was survival. Yeah. I thought this was the speech that George Bush had to give, the speech of his life, and he did it. Content, delivery, America's going to believe him.
Thank you much, Senator Dan. I don't know who's going to win the election, but I can tell you the Republicans win the balloon war.
And the confetti war. Well, we joke about it. Walter Cronkite, the Reagan team certainly believed that pictures could win an election. You know, they often said, look, we don't care much what you say on the evening news, for example. Just put up our pictures and we'll take it and we'll win the election. And so when we joke about the confetti blizzard here and the great balloon blizzard, it isn't just for play.
No, not at all, Dan. It just occurred to me that maybe those good economic figures that the Republicans have been quoting, high employment, comes from the number of people they have to hire to blow up the balloons for their convention. Gosh, I've never seen anything quite like it. Actually, there was such a blizzard of balloons, we couldn't even see the podium from your anchor booth here a moment ago.
But what do we talk about? Speech expectations. Michael Dukakis delivered a good speech in Atlanta. George Bush, tomorrow morning's papers are bound to say, delivered at least a pretty good speech here. I'd say better than that.
I thought it was a good speech.
In the end, does it matter?
Oh, yes, I think it matters. I think it matters quite a bit. I think it was necessary for George Bush to deliver a good speech tonight. The word has become, I think, and it's getting to be something cliche, but energize these workers. These are the foot soldiers. These are the people who've got to go back to the precincts. They've got to go back enthusiastic. If they'd gone out of here on a downbeat, that would not have augured well for the future of this campaign as far as they're concerned. And I think he did a good speech, not only a good speech for this hall. He's preaching to the converted, of course, here, we know. But out across America, for those who are watching, he delivered a good television speech. He was animated, but not bombastic, and not over-enthusiastic. He attacked the problems, it seemed, with seriousness and with good intent. He looked presidential. And I think that was very important for his image as he goes into this campaign. They would like very much, of course, to see a nice, good bump in the polls coming out of this convention.
They're almost
sure to
get
that bump tonight.
I see your point. You think he had to have this to get the bump, and now you think he'll get that?
Well, I think he probably might have. I think he would have gotten a bump probably, because that seems to be almost certain. But he'd like a big bump, and this probably helped that. And the same thing can be said of Quayle's speech. He was under the gun tonight, too, to deliver a serious speech. He couldn't look too youthful. He couldn't look too exuberant and too enthusiastic as he has at a couple of his appearances around here this week. His speech, although obviously somebody had to have prepared it for him, he hadn't had any time to prepare a speech. I don't know he had much time to even confer on that speech. The speech was almost boilerplate, Republican presentation, but he did it well. He did it, looked serious.
All of the primary and caucus opponents are on the podium now. At the podium with Vice President Bush in what has become the standard close the convention picture. Have all of your opponents posed with you. The Democrats did it. Representative Michael trying to bring some order down. Well, when we come back, we'll have more reports from the balloon and confetti-filled New Orleans Superdome.
This portion of CBS News coverage of the Republican National Convention is sponsored by The Travelers, one of America's most experienced financial experts. You're better off under the umbrella.
Welcome to the new world, where all the rules have changed
A world of financial expertise to accumulate assets, finance mortgages. A world of insurance protection for lives, property, and businesses. A world of comprehensive, affordable health services. It's the world of the Travelers, one of America's strongest insurance, financial, and health service experts. The Travelers. You're better off under the umbrella.
Oh, look at me back in the 60s, working up a sweat. Oh, and that's how I used to pump iron. Not today. Today we're exercising more and eating less red meat. But red meat is a great source of iron.
Only Kellogg's Bran Flakes has high fiber and 100% of the iron recommended today.
So now I pump a little iron outside and inside. You know, I haven't felt this good since I burned that bathing suit.
Kellogg's Bran Flakes.
Betrayed, a major motion picture.
Time for people to wake up. Take notice.
It will shock you.
I had the feeling this really happens. This is really going on. Oh, my God.
Oh, the movie was terrifying.
It will disturb you.
For me, that's why you want to go to a film, to have it make you think, even if it is very disturbing.
It will anger you.
It'll kick you in the rear end and make you think a lot about the country that you live in.
Betrayed, Deborah Winger, Tom Berenger. Rated R. Opens Friday, August 26th.
If they could see you now out on a fun ship cruise. You know, when you take a Carnival cruise, all your shipboard fun is included in the price. All your nighttime entertainment's included. All your food's included, too. They'd never believe it if your friends could see you now. Take a 3, 4, or 7-day cruise on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
This is CBS. That great bundle of energy and talent, Shirley Jones, leading the convention in the singing of America the Beautiful. And as the gavel sounds, this is done. It's finished, and we're gone. The 34th Republican National Convention all over. It was George Bush's convention. Didn't go as it had been planned to go, ups and downs, rounds and about. Surprise running mate nominee. Nominee runs into trouble with talk about where was he during the war. Talks about tough defense, what did he do when the war was on. But when this evening, once it got rolling this evening, it was without doubt George Bush's convention. Excellent speech, excellently delivered. After 7 years in the shadow of Ronald Reagan, George Bush moved out into the spotlight tonight. It said, here I am, I want to be your leader. Listen, take a look, tell me in November what you think. He stood down there at the podium and talked about who he is and where he would lead this country as its president. In the coming days, we will see whether his message got through, whether it was believed, how well it is received. We will also see how Bush handles the Dan Quayle controversy about the National Guard and how much, if any, it hurt the campaign. And now with the primaries, the caucuses, and the conventions all over, the election of our 41st President of the United States moves into its final phase. During the next 12 weeks, George Bush and Michael Dukakis will talk about, and we expect debate at least once, their different visions of America and the future. Then, on November 8th, you, the American voters, will have the final word. CBS News will be around here to cover it all for you. For tonight, for my CBS News colleagues, thanks for being with us this week. Dan Rather. See you tomorrow.
From New Orleans, this has been CBS News coverage of the Republican National Convention.
This is CBS.